You ever wonder why you can't seem to manage your emotions? You're always trying to figure out how to think, what perspective to have, what frame to have, but then you always end up in the same spot no matter what book you read, no matter what video you watch, no matter what it is that you try to do. You still feel controlled by your emotions and trying to escape it and not actually feeling good emotions. Well, in this video, we're going to show you why that is and what you can do about it. So when I first realized I can actually change and develop myself and grow and be a better person, I was about 19, 20 years old. And I spent the first maybe 5 years just trying to figure out the right mindset, trying to read the right books, trying to unravel the thoughts that I have. So I'm like, if I can read enough books, I can figure out the right mindset and then force myself to think a certain way so I don't feel the same emotion, so I don't feel unworthy, not wanted or loved, or I'm going to get rejected or I'm not wanted. These were the beliefs that were driving a lot of my need for personal development. And I thought, if I can fix my mindset right, if I can read the right books or do the right things, then things will change. But hundreds of books later, thousands of hours on YouTube, journaling, doing all these things, nothing ended up working. And there was no lack of effort. I did a lot of freaking work, like a ton of work, and I'm still suffering from the same problem. I'm still suffering from the same thoughts. I'm still suffering from the negative emotions, and nothing seemed to work. So why did that happen? Why do I do all this work and study and I'm still having the same outcome, whether it become like results wise or just based off the way I think and my negative emotional states and my negative thoughts and my negative self-image towards myself? Well, the issue is because I'm trying to address the problem through my thoughts, but thoughts are meant to be thought, and then feelings are meant to be felt. So I was avoiding my feelings. Why? Because there's a ton of fear, shame, guilt, trauma, negative beliefs, a lot of things that I was running away from, that I was using this, trying to become better, as a escape mechanism to avoid this, unknowingly, of course. But that's why none of this stuff worked, because I'm trying to solve a deep emotional issue with my thoughts, and that just doesn't work. So we need to understand that we have a lot of emotional sensations: fear, love, grief, anger, sadness, hurt, desire, all of these things. But you can distill everything down to essentially two emotions, which is love and fear. Everything can be boiled down to these two. And then you have hurt and grief, but I would even say that has to do with love, because grief is simply just a loss of love or loss of an identity. So you could really just group it in with love. So then, what do you do with the fear and anxiety? How do you heal it? How do you challenge it? Well, there's two ways. First way, you have to figure out the unconscious mechanism that's driving it. So there's unconscious trauma, which is linked to a belief system, which is linked to a program. So I'm not safe is one of the programs. Is it true you're not safe? Are you safe in this very moment as you're watching this video? Yes. So that means every time you thought you weren't safe before then, you are. You were actually safe, you just felt unsafe. So then you were never not safe, you just felt unsafe in the moment. And you'll never not be safe in the future till that moment comes and you pass, and you're not going to be safe anyways, so who cares? So then you can let go of the fear around that. Now I know I'm oversimplifying it. There's steps that I would do if I was coaching you or if I was coaching somebody that would actually allow someone to have an emotional release regarding this, so they're no longer trapped by that program. And the other way is simply not resisting the fear. Fear is just energy, it's just an emotion. So the next time you feel anxiety, what is it? Maybe you get a little tingling feeling in your heart, you're a little cold, you clamor up, you get stifled. But other than that, is there anything so dangerous about fear, or something that you just can't tolerate? No, not really. It's just sensation. So what happens if you stop resisting that sensation and allow it to be there? Well, then nothing. It will eventually be there, and then whatever's underneath it, maybe it's sadness, like you need to release. Maybe it's a little bit of anger. You might have to shift through emotions, but whatever the emotion is, it's just sensations. So what happens if you stick with any sensation that you have and just allow it to be there without judging it, without trying to change it, without doing any of these things that you typically normally do? What would happen? You don't know because you probably never tried it. But if you sit with it, you'll notice it will go away. It might get more intense for a little bit, but then it'll dissolve eventually. And then you might switch to another emotion. And while you do this, it's called the surrendering and letting go. As you do this, the emotion will start to release. And if you even cry, I mean, that's 10 out of 10. Like, crying is massive for release. Most people haven't done it since they're children. And that's a big problem. And that's a big driver for anxiety, is just not feeling and not being able to release. So then you have just so much pent up tension that you're just shoving down, then it's gonna come up as anxiety and depression. So then you have to learn to be okay with your emotions, allow it to feel it, and then it will go away eventually. And now you're making space for more positive emotions, more love, more happiness, whatever it is, because you're letting go of the negativity. So the best way to look at it is the sun's always shining, but there's clouds that cover it, right? So sadness, the anger, the depression, the anxiety, that's all the clouds. So they just need to pass so that happiness can come up. And then another part is when the happiness does come up, we have to learn to not sabotage that happiness. So then just to wrap this up, there's two types of way you can deal with this. Mixing them together is ideal. One on their own is not going to suffice. So you have to dissolve the unconscious mechanism and programming that's driving the belief, and then once that belief cracks, you're going to have an emotional flood. Then you have to sit with that emotional flood, allow it to pass, and then now you're no longer being driven by it. You've created space in your mind from that identity, so you no longer have to act in accordance to that identity. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, leave a like and subscribe. And I dropped a link to my Skool group. It's a free course. You can go ahead and click that. It's going to be free for now. I don't know if I'm going to start charging for it. And I will see you in the next video.